Well, how could I have almost forgotten about this one? This is the rogue payphone, semi-illegal, semi-legal, I don't know, installed on private property while after the Sports Authority closed and there was nobody renting. And this was so far out on the outskirts of the property that I think even the property owner might have thought it was city sidewalk property. This is owned by the same guy who has the Doomsday payphone, but he, I think, just gave up on this one. I mentioned this to him when I happened to bump into him once, sometime last year. I asked him if he was going to come and recover his equipment, and he sounded pretty apathetic about it. But in its day, he said this was doing like $3 or $4 a day, and it cost him, I think he said $8 a month to operate. But he finally threw in the towel on that one. It's a good spot because this is a busy subway and bus hub. So it was a good foot traffic spot, as they say in the payphone biz. It looks like the old payphone Clamshell is gone. This is the one that was at Broadway and 63rd. Must be pretty recent. My fixation on these things isn't strictly Tourette's. I don't know why I joke about that. But I directed an artist friend of mine to all of these abandoned and derelict payphone locations and had no idea how much joy I was bringing into his life by doing this. But I check on them once in a while, just as to give my daily constitutional some purpose, because he actually gave me a chunk of money for my time, and it sounds like there might be more money coming, so I want to stay connected with this little pursuit of checking in on all the dead and abandoned payphones. Now, this one is still hanging in there, but it hasn't worked for, it's been a while now. This one used to work, but probably been I don't know how long it's been. I had some back and forth with PTS folks about this one. They actually did come out and fix it. But then I think within a week or two of that, it was decommissioned. It's the 71st Street subway station. There's at least one other phone, well, there's two of them actually behind the gate, but those are both dead too. And I'm not going to pay the fare just to illustrate. There's one in like a middle level, and then there's another one that's mutilated on one of the, I think the Flushing bound track. Anyway, these aren't really part of the art project though. We're looking only for outdoor locations. There's somebody's driving directions. I just rode through Palisades Park a couple of days ago. Song Caterer. So when I talk about the chunk of change that I got, I mean, it's hardly a windfall, hardly a jackpot, but it's enough to keep me engaged. And I was not in it for the money at all. And there was no agreement ahead of time that there was going to be any. But it seemed perfectly reasonable and valid use of the grant money that he got. I don't know how much grant money he got, by the way. It doesn't matter. Well, this doesn't work. I was actually kind of relieved to see there was some discussion about these kiosks on some neighborhood blog, and somebody commented that their cell phone died, and they tried to find a working LinkNYC thing to make a call, and none of them worked. I was really kind of relieved. Not happy to hear it, but satisfied to know that I'm not just experiencing random glitches or not making it up, certainly. And there used to be, I think, 2 or 3 in a row out that car wash there, but those are gone. The real prize is this way. Or I hope it's still there on Baxter Avenue. I mean, I would still be engaged with this artist friend anyway, with or without the money. I didn't expect it, but like I said, considering what I brought to the project, dozens of locations that he almost certainly would not have found on his own. He has lots of connections, that people who think they know a lot about payphones, but once we spent a little time together, he was like, wow. Wow, you know a lot more about this than I thought. And I went into it like thinking, what value does this information have for anybody else in the whole freaking world? What value is there in knowing where to find abandoned, derelict payphones? Who knew, right? Oh, shit. I thought I was recording. This is Baxter Avenue and 41st Avenue. This is a really boss spot for the project because it's not busy right now, but it's generally a busy intersection, and better than that, the property owners have been very cooperative and even excited about dealing with it, at least initially. I'm not sure if that has sustained itself. I don't know what company left this one behind, and this little opening doesn't really give enough context as far as I can say. Something communications, but that's an N, and that probably says payphone. But this doesn't look like a Verizon sign. Verizon ends with N. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is a key location for the project, so I'm glad to see that it's still intact. That's a pretty big one. What a big pole that barber has. And then you've got this somewhat hidden away specimen, the wall of a Vietnamese restaurant. This one's fully intact though, and that makes things a little difficult for the logistics of this project. He would have to replace this phone with one of his. So what we're really looking for is empty clamshells or pedestals. And of course this thing doesn't work. It's been probably 15 years. NYTEL, a friend of mine knew the guy who ran NYTEL. It was a one-person operation, like a lot of these things, like a lot of these little payphone companies. Cyrus skipped town and left like dozens of his phones out to rot. Dozens of phones like this one. It's not in the worst condition, but it's just not doing anything for anybody. Still see 3 signs. If you could get those down, you could probably get $20 a piece for them on eBay. Anyway, this pedestal is still standing, and then there's a phone behind this sign. But this is more interesting for the purpose of the project, I think, the empty pedestal. This is Broadway and Dongan. But I don't think he ever talked to any of the property owners here about this one. This I know used to be a phone. I think I even used this one. Broadway and St. James. And this one was around late into the apocalypse. Late into the payphone apocalypse. But it too is gone. There's an old phone number. I might have spotted this one before. I mean, I know I've spotted it a long time ago, but I might have posted it already. ILinois 71122, and that number worked until fairly recently. The party place had been there a long time. It's on Queens Boulevard. Yeah, just for the hell of it, I thought I'd give it a try, but. Maximum volume has been reached, so you should be hearing something, right? It's not happening. These things are not payphone replacements. And by the way, because I didn't do this last time and somebody said I should have, demonstrating that the number really does work, you just can't get to it from LinkNYC.
Roosevelt, a combination of Roosevelt and Palmer, I think.
It's kind of hard to hear out here in the Queens Boulevard wilderness, but just proving that the number works from my phone, but you can't get to it from the link. And then here's one last one. I think this is the very last one I'm going to... Oh, there might be one more, actually, outside the motel. But this is probably not useful because it's on private property behind a fence. But this is Queens Boulevard and Ireland Street. And I guess that's the landline wire down there. You know, I think I'm going to make a habit of getting photos of these missing person signs and just posting them to my website for whatever little difference it might make. You never know, right? I really hate seeing signs like this. I actually spotted one, and I thought about doing this the last time I spotted one of these in Midtown. Someone had gone missing and was believed to have passed through Grand Central Terminal, and that's where the signs were. And I was going to do something like that. I was going to post it to Facebook somewhere, I don't know. But wouldn't you know it, that girl was found, like within the hour of me taking the photo of her missing person sign. So that was good news. There is one more phone across the street at the infamous Crown Motel, formerly known as the Crown Motor Inn. In fact, I think they still have the old sign. Place was infamous for how they shamelessly advertised their hourly rates, and they were just like directly soliciting business from the hooker scene. There's really no easy place to cross near here, so I'm not going to go over there. I did actually go into the Crown Motel once. It was like a 100-degree day, and I had to have something. I had to get some water, and I figured they'd have a vending machine inside, and they did. But I've had no other reason to go into a place like that. Thought I'd give it another try, but not on this one. No Smart City joy here. I covered up with this black vinyl when the tablet doesn't function. And you can't make a call with the physical keys either. So this is a waste of time and a waste of space. That's lovely, isn't it? Just like Queens Boulevard, a place of beauty and wonder. Look at this, somebody charging their phone and blocking the sidewalk with their charging cable. Some smart city design. Well, at least I'm able to connect a few times today. Last time I tried this, I had a failure rate of 100%.
I don't know.
I think I said this before, but my my soft, sexy voice isn't really the best candidate for audibility on this thing, but
I looked at this show.
But hey, at least it works. If I could remember my other number, I set up the ice cream truck jingles on another number, but I can't remember what it is now. Something good and loud would be a better candidate to demonstrate these things. Oh, look at this. I've been carrying that phone number around with me. I forgot about that. So let's see. We've got some competition here with this, I don't know if the air conditioner or whatever that is. Let's see if this one works. Volume up all the way.
Thanks for calling. At any time you can.
Yeah, this is much better.
Menu by pressing any key. For Hope, press 1. For Hector, press 2. For Joe Frank eating dirt, press 3. For the sound of a door opening and closing, press 4. For the Mr. Softy jingle, press 5.
So that makes it 4 for 5, I guess. That's reasonably respectable. 4 for 5 on being able to connect. And that one was even audible, but I can't blame the audibility factor on anything but my silky smooth voice. And all that audio from that payphone radio was all recorded over payphones, which are not always the most high fidelity instruments for recording. But I should be able to find a link in a quieter spot. I want to go through that IVR thing again. That was fun. That's the first time I played it back in probably 2 or 3 months. At this point, each button, each number sends you directly to something. But what I want to do is have each number send you to a sub-menu of 5 or 6 options. So one of them would be short recordings from my radio heroes. And that'll be Joe Frank and Paul Harvey and Danny Stiles. And I hate to say it, but Rush, because he's not my hero, but when he would talk about anything but politics, he was actually a pretty engaging and intelligent person. And I've known people that knew him personally, and they all said the same thing, that his shtick was just that. It was a shtick. He was actually a pretty nice guy. I don't know if I believe that, but whatever the case. But yeah, and maybe this will motivate me to do it now. I want to expand that IVR so that pressing 1 sends you to my radio heroes, pressing 2 sends you to me playing some piano music, 3 might send you to my favorite payphone radio calls. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Actually, when I said 4 out of 5, maybe that was being a little generous. I forgot about the one that had this. Here's another one that has this black piece of vinyl. Sometimes when you see this, the phone will still work. And you can like crank up the volume and you hear the prompt, but this one doesn't look like it works at all. So there's a smart city fail. So this machine being across the street from the cemetery, I assumed it would be as dead as everything else around here. Yeah, I'm really funny, right? Let's see what happens. Volume is all the way up. Call connects, but you can't hear anything. There's your payphone replacement. And here's another loser. Yeah, sometimes, even when this thing is here, sometimes you can make a call through this thing, but nothing doing, not this time. I think the charging still works. Or, well, it says it doesn't, but sometimes that's not always accurate. No joy here. No way to make a phone call. No way to call 911. No way to do anything. And on this one, the ad screens have not worked for months, maybe even a year. So this is really a useless slab, a useless obstruction. There used to be a beautifully working payphone right over here. I remember being specifically peeved about this one being removed because it worked right up to the end, and it was a phone that I actually used a lot for a certain period of my life. Okay, so I finally found a nice quiet place to make a phone call. Let's see what happens.
Hi there, and thanks for calling. At any time, you can return to this main menu by pressing any key. For Hope, press 1. For Hector, press 2. For Joe Frank eating dirt, press 3. For the sound of a door opening and closing, press 4. For the Mr. Softy jingle, press 5. For Leo Ornstein, press 6. For the night a hooker called me, press 7. For 1 minute of silence heard on a vinyl LP record, press 8. For a piano piece I cannot identify, press 9.
Let's try Leo Ornstein. this I can't
return to
identify.
this main menu.
Hoping somebody can identify that because it's driving me crazy.
When I was a child in school, there was a game we used to play, which involved how much dirt you could put in your ears, in your nose, and in your mouth. I would always win. I could always take more dirt. The other children would all get sick and throw up. But I never did. Then I began to bury myself because I'd come to love the odor of the earth, the taste, the gritty texture. And soon, I had to have it cooked into all the meals I ate. Small bits of earth in my steak, in my chicken, dirt gravy, and dirt sprinkled onto everything. Dirt casseroles and dirt desserts. Earth brulee and earth au poivre. And earth with different sauces. And eventually, little tendrils began to grow out of my body. They would have to be trimmed constantly. Grasses and flowers, soybeans, baby cucumbers, arugula, okra, celery stalks, turnips and radishes, so that I became self-sustaining. I could eat my own vegetables and relied on no one for survival but myself. I was my own ecosystem. And this is what empowered me.
Joe Frank could be pretty intense. He could be tedious as hell too, but he could be pretty damn intense. That was Joe Frank, by the way. Somebody asked if that was me. It's not me. Well, I can't complain about call quality on this one. But playing some of that stuff back, I see that I have some work to do in terms of making it a little more professional sounding. The piano music doesn't really sound very good at all. It's very twangy. So we'll see. Give that number a call, see what you think.